Hi, I'm Fay Pottinger. I'm one of the co-founders of Scentered, portable aromatherapy. I'm here today chatting with Jody Shield, who has recently launched a book called LifeTonic, which is doing really well. And we're just going to be having a chat about a number of different things, starting with our journeys to get to where we are today, I guess. And I was really interested to read about your journey, going back to you sort of leaving your lucrative advertising career and going to South America. If you could talk a bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it all happened about 7 years ago, and I was working as a business director in a very busy agency, and those of you that work in advertising will totally sympathise. And I was just looking around at all of the burned out people and the frustrated clients and the bosses cracking their whips, and there were so many men around me as well. And I think when you're working in a very male orientated industry, there's so much pressure to be a high performing woman and to move into that very masculine energy that we've been brought up in, but it's not the essence of who we are. And so I feel like I've felt quite a lot of pressure, and there was a lot of insecurity and anxiety coming up around being a woman in advertising. And so one day I found myself in bed for a couple of weeks with stress, and I kind of decided that I needed to be free. And I kind of dared admit it to myself first, and then I was like, no, there's got to be more to life than this. It's got to be better. And so I packed my bag and I went off to South America. I went there wanting to know who I was as a person, wanting to heal, wanting answers and insight. As I was traveling around South America, I was traveling with different friends, and one friend came and joined me at the Brazil part. And she said to me, oh, are you going to go to Peru? And are you going to hang out there? And I was like, oh, I don't really know. I was trying to be quite free and easy about it, but I was like, no, something was drawing me to go to Peru. Fast forward a month and I was on a riverboat in the middle of the Amazon River, surrounded by a group of 20 people I didn't know, Hollywood actresses, would you believe, Californian yogis, pro sports players, and me from Liverpool. And I was thinking, what am I doing here? But I'm just going to go along with it. I ended up landing into this centre, which was full of indigenous people, and we were going to experiment with plant medicine, psychoactive plant medicine, for 12 days. And it was an ayahuasca ceremony, and it was very interesting. Lots of documentarians do it, and it's a way of really facing your demons, is what I'll say. I was struggling with an eating disorder, and lots of things were going on, and I was completely off balance. So when I left that place, I felt like I'd been reborn, because someone or an experience had literally taken me in, cleansed me out, and then kind of like rebooted me and popped me back into the world. And then I came back to London after a bit of brief stint working in for Save the Children in Ecuador, and I came back to London, and the journey really started from there. I got this super thirst for needing to understand more about healing and why the mind creates conditions in the body, and how stuff that we've been through from the past can really contribute to who we are now in this moment. In this corporate modern day, we forget to breathe because we get so stressed out, and then it becomes very shallow, and then the breathing patterns, as he would call them, become very constricted. And so having ways to enhance the breath through your amazing products, and just ways to really get the breath deeper into the body so that you can shift what you're holding on to is so, like you say, so powerful.
In your meditation, then your meditations, do you sort of, is breath work a really big part of that, or is it, how does that fit in with
absolutely, because the breath is first of all, it's the constant, it's always there. It's the first thing to allow people to focus on in that reconnection process to yourself. For me, what mindfulness is it's a reconnection to yourself.
No, absolutely.
That's it.
And that's what Centered is, kind of, it's about getting centered back to you. And actually creating Centered was very much for me a kind of part of my journey in getting back to myself. So so it's really, I think modern life, takes you out of yourself, doesn't it? With technology, with the fast pace, with the stress and everything else. So I mean, you must see it all the time in your clients.
Yeah, it's so easy to get disconnected, and it's, now that I've mentioned the fact that we hold on to baggage, it's easy for me to say this. A lot of the time, we're using this instant gratification that we get through posting an Instagram feed, but we're doing it because we're avoiding what's here. We're avoiding facing ourselves.
That's it. The busiest people I know are the biggest avoiders. And I'm as guilty.
Me too. Me too.
I'm a real believer in, you teach that which you need to learn most. But I know how much better I function when I'm centered, when I meditate. If I have a regular practice, I still struggle to maintain a regular practice, but my God, I am like Fay, times 100 when I'm regularly meditating. I'm the best version of me. I'm operating at a different level, basically, sort of energetically. If you can do one thing, if people are struggling, just do that, because it's free, and it's such a powerful tool to have in your kind of toolkit.
Success is, if it's not managed in a way where you have boundaries and where you can really feel into opportunities and suss them out before you say yes to them and implement little tools and techniques, it's so easy to get on that cycle of just saying because actually, how do you not know that things like healthy eating, clean eating aren't trends and fads? And I'm sure they're not, and I'm sure that they're going to have longevity, but there is a sense of urgency, like, we've got to make the most out of this, it's a one-hit wonder, la la la. And I don't have that, because what I do is, it's been around for millions of years. I'm modernizing it, and actually, as human beings, we all have a need to find balance, and so I feel calmer about it. I feel more in surrender. I'm so lucky to be surrounded with the most supportive team possible who keep me in check. And I encourage people, everyone that I bump into at events or wherever, to call me out on things, and people do. People do. They say something to me like, and I had this amazing comment from someone after a Lululemon event ages ago, and she said, "You're amazing, you've got so much good things to say, but you're not owning your power." And it triggered me so much, and I was like, thank you so much for that. God, you've really triggered me, but thank you so much.
That's really, I've just gone really goosepimply when you said that, because when I was on the train coming down here, I was thinking about things, about today, and I was thinking about my own journey, and I was thinking, for a long time I was afraid of my own power. Yeah. And a lot of my journey over the last sort of 20 years has been sort of stepping into that.
I bet.
Which I think a lot of women can relate to. And I think what you were saying earlier about the feminine, there's just such a massive shift, I think, in the kind of, the feminine power seems to be, I don't know, something's going on. I don't know what you think about that. But I'm seeing lots of really strong women in the space that you're operating in and we're operating in, really standing up and kind of owning their space.
I've just been thinking, when you're talking about you having a product brand out there, because it's different, because I guess I'm still a service brand, but having a product brand out there, like, how do you operate in quite a masculine business energy with your amazingly feminine product, because it is, and how can you ensure that you're opening people's senses through your blends of scent, and you're staying true to the essence of your brand at the same time?
Absolutely, and that's the absolute kind of struggle,
paradox.
But it's the kind of paradox, absolutely. And the way that I sort of approach that is, I ultimately always believe that if you put good energy into it, good energy comes out the other side. And I'll never forget when we did we launched in April 2015, and in the October we did the first Stylist Live, and it was our first consumer event, and it blew me away that we literally did not stop for the 4 days. The way the brand resonated, the way the products resonated, the way the scents resonated with all of these people. It was Thursday to Sunday, and it was mostly females working in London who just needed a breath. a breather, you know, and it was just amazing how it resonated. So that really was the first moment, I think, that I realised that, you know, A, we've really got something here that resonates with people, and B, you know, this isn't something you have to sell to somebody. This is something that is, you know, and I'm not a sort of, you know, a person who, you know, who likes to think of going out and selling something. It's creating something that hopefully resonates with people.
Your product is so needed right now with everything that's going on. There's such a call right now for us to find, you know, that connection with ourselves and to reconnect to that safety inside, I think.
Yeah, and this is where
you feel that as well.
This is where ritual and mantra is so important as well, and in creating the sort of stop, inhale, reset sort of mantra really kind of just came up, just felt like the brand need. I didn't want Scentered to be just an aromatherapy brand, because actually it's not just an you know, we didn't, Lara, my partner and I, we didn't set out to create an aromatherapy brand. We set out to create a brand that is a tool that helps you,
enriches life.
Yeah, it helps you get the most out of life, and helps you perform better, and helps you sleep, helps you, you know, it helps you in lots of different ways. So it really was a support tool, and I really believe that mental health is really the future, because we've been focusing on the physical body so much, you know, since the Jane Fonda DVDs of the 80s or whatever. It was all about, you know, physical, you know, looking good, and to an extent feeling good, you know, and of course that, you know, being physically healthy is important, and all of that, but actually when you're mentally healthy, the physical stuff tends to kind of follow on quite naturally. Modern life is really stressful, you know, just look at the stats for depression and all these mental health issues, the medication prescriptions that are through the roof in the US and in the UK, and I think people are looking for natural alternatives, you know, and so that's where, you know, I mean, my background, I trained in homeopathy, energy medicine is my sort of background, as well as business, you know, and I sort of went through homeopathy, flower essences, and ended up with aromatherapy, but, you know, nature offers some really powerful support, you know, and without all the side effects of medication. So yeah, so my simple answer to that is mental health is the future.
Yeah, I'd so agree with that. And I also believe, you know, for me, what the work that I was doing, it actually, I look at things in a very holistic way. So I'll work with the mind, the emotions, and the body, and the soul and spirit stuff as well.
And
so
yeah, moving that out
all
into a
together,
absolutely,
you know, is so powerful. But I really see your blends, like each blend is so amazing, and it gives you such an amazing response. I feel like when I have your blends in my workshops, and I'm actually quite stingily going round giving everyone a little bit, just to see their response to the blends and how it, and see the change in energy that they have is amazing.
It's an energetic, yeah, and that's exactly it. When I was creating the blends, and I worked with some really talented perfumers, because when we created Scentered, we really wanted it to be a combination of an aromatherapy blend, but also a really beautiful fragrance as well. So it was quite a complicated process to kind of, you know, because there's some amazing essential oils out there, but actually to craft that into something that smells really beautiful and sophisticated requires a really particular skill set. And there's not many people in the UK actually that can create, using natural essential oils, can create really high quality perfumery. So I worked with a combination of people, but I think at the heart of that was a sort of a really intuitive kind of approach from myself, in terms of bringing their expertise and to create something that I felt had the right energy, and it was and it's really kind of sounds a bit airy fairy to some people, I think, but actually each one does have a very tangible energy, and I see it when I talk to people and they try it and things like that. So it's really nice to hear that you feel that when you use them as well. The scent memories, you know, for example, the Escape Balm, which is one of my favourites, that has the frankincense, a very woody kind of Asian influence, reminds a lot of people of holidays in Asia. Different things get triggered in people's memories. You know, some people have said to me, oh, that reminds me of going to church as a child, because of the incense burning. And you know, and so if one person has got sort of negative associations with that, they're kind of like, oh no, I don't, you know, that I don't like that, you know. And then another person will be like, oh my god, I'm back in Bali or wherever, you know. So it's yeah, the power of scent is incredible, really. I think having the stop, inhale, reset sort of mantra for me is a really important part of the brand, and encouraging you to just stop and take stock and use that. We all know that stopping for 30 seconds and breathing for 30 seconds is really good for you. But actually when you're not doing, unless you're quite disciplined or you're an experienced meditator, that you can feel a bit conscious sort of just stopping and doing nothing for 30 seconds. Whereas actually if you've got a balm and you've got a sort of mantra to think about, and you've got, you think, okay, I'm going to stop, I'm going to apply my balm, and I'm going to breathe deeply, and I'm going to reset my mood, and actually 30 seconds it's amazing how much that can reset your whole mood. You could have been rushing around all morning, and you just think, I haven't stopped. You stop and you do that, and I find that there's so many points in my day where stopping and using one of the balms in that way kind of resets me and enables me to get more done in my day, basically. So it might be a stressful school run in the morning, and then I'm getting into it, so it's like sort of stop before I start work, let me just do that. When I'm doing different types of work, doing numbers work to creative work, making that left right brain shift, I always use the escape balm to do that, which is that balm is all about letting go and kind of allowing that creativity to come in as well. So
love that.
Yeah, so that's a really nice one to use in that way. And then the sleep one is, I guess that's the most ritualistic one of all in terms of helping you create a sort of long-term healthy sleeping habit. If you use that every night, you're literally retraining your brain with that aroma, because your brain associates that with going to sleep. So then after you've done that for a few weeks, all you need to do is sort of smell that balm, and your brain automatically thinks, okay, that's the smell associated with sleep.
So powerful. Yeah. And sleep is so important. Yeah. So the balms then for me would be a way of fueling my energy throughout the day. For me, just to fuel my energy, I think. And I have them in my handbag, and whenever I'm doing a talk or doing a workshop, I need 5-10 minutes just to really stop and just prepare and reset my energy and tune into myself, and anything that can help get me there is just invaluable, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly it. It's we're pulled out of ourselves in so many different directions, and that's it. It's a way to reconnect to yourself.
Just to talk about your letting go balm, I love that mantra, and for me, I mine is I surrender. Yeah. And and sometimes I'm like, I surrender, I let go, and I give in. But for me, giving in means giving inwards. That's what came through. So I surrender, I let go, and I give inwards.
With the escape balm, that would be a really nice sort of mantra or meditation around that theme, I think. There's so many different ways. I think each balm has so many different sort of situations that you can apply it to, but for the escape one, there's the sort of switching, sort of the letting go and creating space for creativity, but there's also sort of, when you've had a really hard week on a Friday, you sort of letting go of that week and sort of fast tracking you into that state of relaxation that often it takes us a couple of days to wind down. When you've had a really busy few weeks, whatever, you get to the weekend and actually it takes until Sunday lunchtime to actually start feeling like, oh, and now I'm really in the groove of the weekend. But it's like, but part of you's panicking that it's almost over, Whereas that balm I find really helps me on a Friday to kind of really fast track into that state, so actually you can really maximise your weekends.
Well, I have your balms on the plane, so on the plane there, I'm just really getting connected. And for me, I'm travelling so much at the moment, which is really great, but I need to collect all of my energy so that I can walk into the energy of a new city and feel really together and grounded, because that helps me with overcome jet lag much faster. Yeah. And actually when I'm coming back to the UK as well, I really want to feel very collected and grounded, and so that I can really quickly tune into the energy of the city that I'm in now. My favourite ever scented balm is the Focus Balm, and I've mentioned this throughout the whole interview, hint hint hint. And for me it's the sage in it, I think. And I've just been traveling in Idaho, and there's so much wild sage around that it just really, it reminded me of the balm that then reminded me of the wild sage. So it's like this cycle that goes on, and it makes me feel very alert. And the mint, I just love mint as well, like just smelling mint in the garden and sage. And this is my favourite.
I always think of the Focus one as the most functional of the balms, actually, because it's the doer of the balms. It's the one, right, you want to get stuff done. It's the action. I
don't need any more support in that
area. But it's also it's that, collecting yourself.
Yeah, and yours is something different.
Yeah, mine is Escape, and I've spoken about this already earlier in the interview. This is my favourite one, and this one is affectionately known as it was described by Get the Gloss as a holiday in your handbag.
Oh, lovely!
Which I thought was a really lovely way to describe it. And it's got these lovely sort of luxurious oriental sort of woody sort of fragrance. It's got frankincense and sandalwood and oud, and it's very evocative of holidays in Southeast Asia for some people. For me personally, it is, and it's all about letting go. It's about switching off. So if you're sort of sat at your desk and you just you're dreaming of being somewhere far more exotic and exciting, you can sort of take this out and you can just give yourself a few moments to just enjoy the feeling of being somewhere else. Take an escape. Why not, basically? And actually, that's really powerful kind of reboot. You're having, you've had a full-on morning or whatever, and just 30 seconds or a minute of doing your stop, inhale, reset mantra with your escape balm, it can really set you up for re-energize you, sort of.
Wow.
So,
I'd love some as well. Can we blend them together?
Yeah. No, and the great thing is, because they're natural, there's no synthetic fixatives or anything like that. So they're not designed to sort of sit on your skin as a fragrance all day, like a sort of normal perfume. They're designed to be used as frequently as you want during the day. So the idea is that you use it when you need it, and you give yourself a shot of that particular treatment that you need, and you do the whole mantra, so it's not something that you do once and then it lasts all day. It's something that you need to kind of be actively participating to get the full
shot
benefit.
Of Scented. I love that.
Right,
yeah, and my brand is all about tonics, so for me, Scented is the perfect tonic.
It's a perfect fit. So thank you so much for joining me in conversation today. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you better, and for our brands, to be so beautifully aligned. It's great to be working with you.
Thank you, and I really feel that, and it's an honour to be with you today. Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you.